How are things there on the East Coast?
With regards to what? The protests, the bad air quality, or the
Everything,
pandemic
man. Everything.
before they turn into what they are now.
So where were you when they won? When they won the cup?
This is actually a good story. So the Rail Yard Dawgs are owned. The majority of the ownership is the McGinn family. I don't know how big of a hockey fan you are, but there are three professional hockey players, all of whom have at least been in the NHL. At one time, they were all in the NHL together. It's Jamie McGinn, who briefly played for the Coyotes, actually. Ty McGinn, who's been mostly an AHL guy, but has been in the NHL as well. And Brock McGinn, the youngest of them, he plays for the Carolina Hurricanes. And so they were in town along with their dad, who kind of represents the majority ownership group and has like a role with the organization where he oversees some stuff. They were all in town. It was, of course, the summer and the off season for us, but they were in Roanoke doing a camp where like youth hockey, grow the local youth hockey scene. You know, here's not only the owners of the Rail Yard Dawgs, the local pro team, but NHL players who are, get some experience with them. It's a whole thing. It's great. They do it every year. And so it was after the last day of their camp, after the last day, the last session, they had a thing where some local men's league guys could come basically play, pick up shinny hockey with them. And so we all met up, like the people who work for the team, people around the organization, ownerships, and we basically overtook the upstairs of a bar downtown called 202, and they had the game on a big projector on the screen. And it's the Capitals, it's the team I grew up watching. They're trying to win the Stanley Cup. I'm sitting directly next to a guy who plays in their division, Brock McGinn with the Hurricanes, and it's like, I feel like, I got to be a little bit more subdued here because it's like a little somewhat professional atmosphere, even though we're in a bar and like, these guys are the owners of the team and bosses are around and everything. And like, all right. And it ended up being cool. Can move him. He's like a house. And like, what goes on when there's a big scrum? What are they saying in the middle of that? And basically guys are, just yelling F you at each other. But it was weird because here I am watching the Capitals win the cup, and directly next to me is one of the owners of the team who happens to play against them in their same division.
That's unbelievable, dude. You growing up a big fan. I mean, did you kind of keep your composure, or was it more along the lines of like total fandom when they won?
I mean, you're happy, and there's other Caps fans around, and you're high-fiving, but I'm not like screaming blackout or anything, which probably at this stage of my career, having worked in pro sports long enough, the diehard goes away a little bit. Like, of course, I love the game, love being around it, but you don't live and die with absolutely every second. Especially, I mean, you call games, so like fans, everybody the only people who have any effect on what's going on the field, on the ice, on the court are the players. Like, we have no effect. Changing your seat because the team has struck out a bunch of times in a row in baseball or slump or whatever, that's not going to change any mojo. Like, the first time I really remember that hitting me was I was, there was still a commercial running and the game started. I was like, what? But I'm not ready yet. I was like, oh, what I'm doing up here doesn't matter for what's going on really down there. Right. So you just realizing how little effect you have on it makes you, I think, a little bit less of a live and die with every moment. But at the same time, to circle it back, of course, I was pretty pumped.
Just like in private, like, just give me 1 second.
It's more like one of the local owners for the Rail Yard Dawgs, just as a tiny little sliver, is a guy who's from Hershey and grew up watching the Hershey Bears, the Caps' top affiliate. So became a big Caps fan from that. And so it's like you seek him out and high five him, and have some moments with people who had a big rooting interest. You got to find the people who are pumped, and then you can be pumped with them.